about it. And what you can do is you can overthink something to the point where you never end up doing it.
Right, right. And that goes to this little question that I ask folks, who are considering, entrepreneurship. Oftentimes people be like, well, one day I'm going to do this or one day I'm going to do that. And my question is it going to be one day or is it going to be day one? You have to just go ahead and get started. Take that first step. And then everything else will fall into place.
Now, I already know what you're thinking. You want to know where to get the merch. I'm glad you asked. Just go on over to toostubborntofail.com. That's toostubborntofail.com. All right, let's get back to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. My name is Teneasha Perkins, and I'm your host. Today, we have the lovely Teneasha Perkins, who is the owner and CEO of All Things Design. Teneasha, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Great, great. What people may not know is that she's also my wife. So that's going to make for a nice interview. So tell me a little bit about where All Things Design came from.
Okay. All Things Design is a business I started based on my passion for being creative and designing things. I am naturally an artist at heart. So All Things Design incorporates my love for interior design, event design, creating crafts projects, you name it, I do it. So All Things Design incorporates all those aspects of art that I like to create and inspire others with.
Okay, okay. So you would say that it was easy for you to start this company because art is a passion for you.
Yes, yes. Um, Basically, what I did was I took something that I was already doing as a hobby, and I decided to, okay, this is something I already enjoy doing, on the side as a hobby. Why don't I go ahead and turn that into something that can make me money and be lucrative, and turn it into an actual full-fledged business. And that's what I did. That's what I did, and I started the company in 2020. It was born
Right in the pandemic.
right in the midst of the pandemic. So, I don't know about other folks, but I know that the pandemic, it did light a fire in the entrepreneur in me, and it did, get me to that point where I decided to take that leap of faith and start my own business and, just go for it. Now, I do still have a 9 to 5 for now, but I am also working my business as an entrepreneur so that I can be able to transition into that full-time entrepreneur doing what I love, which is design.
Awesome, awesome. I can attest to that. Also, a quick caveat. Could you speak to some of the, I would say, hurdles in working a full-time 9 to 5 and trying to do your own business?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say some of those hurdles would include the time aspect, because if you have a full-time 9 to 5 job, that's time that you're committing to someone else's. That's time that you're committing to someone else's dream, helping making that happen. Although you are getting paid a wage for it, but you're not working on your own personal business at that time. So time, that definitely is one of those hurdles when you have a full-time job and you're an entrepreneur. I oftentimes say that, uh, currently my bills are paid with my 9 to 5 and my thrills come from my 5 to 9. But, I want to get it to where my business is that full time, and although I put in 40 hours a week at my job, things that people don't realize is as an entrepreneur, you put in a lot of hours, excess hours on that back end in the late hours of the night when you're working on your business or working on your craft or working on projects. I know you've seen many nights where I'm up at 1, 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I'm working on this tablescape or this design or something. And it's like that passion just keeps you going. A lot of times people don't see all that you put into your business behind the scene in those late and early hours that goes into, getting your business rolling.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I'm super proud of you.
I appreciate
And,
that.
I'm interested to see how far we can grow this thing as a business, and what that's going to look like as a full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the goal. Here at Too Stubborn to Fail, we like to introduce different entrepreneurs to we like to introduce the world to these entrepreneurs and let them know that it's not this big scary thing to get started. Because I think a lot of times people think of entrepreneurship as something that's hard to get started with, but really, out of everybody that I talk to, it's really just getting started. You can oftentimes spend too much time thinking about it, and what you can do is you can overthink something to the point where you never end up doing it.
Right. And, that goes to this little question that I ask folks, who are considering, entrepreneurship. Oftentimes people be like, well, one day I'm going to do this, or one day I'm going to do that. And my question is it going to be one day, or is it going to be day one? You have to just go ahead and get started. Take that first step. And then everything else will fall into place. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to make mistakes along the way. And it's okay if you make mistakes, but you grow from those mistakes, and the main thing is that you learn from them and you progress, in your craft.
Okay. So one thing that I want to tell the audience is, could you speak a little bit to how easy of a process it was to get started? Like, once you made the decision to get started, what did that look like for you?
The process was fairly easy for me. If there is someone out there that's considering becoming an entrepreneur, I'll give you 5 tips. And that first tip is to have you a solid business plan. As an entrepreneur, it's very important that you have a solid business plan mapped out for yourself. And with that plan, you want to list goals that you want to accomplish with the business that you're going to be doing. And write out the steps that it's going to take for you to accomplish each of those goals. And my second tip for an entrepreneur starting out would be to get yourself a mentor that's in the business already, that can mentor you and give you good advice on how you can progress in that business or industry as well. My third tip is to not be afraid to ask for help. Because oftentimes people feel like they have to do everything on their own. It is not the case that you have to do everything on your own, and it is okay to ask for help. Because I got help getting started along the way. I got help with learning how to get my LLC going and that type of thing. So you want to reach out to sources that are willing to give you that information and help you grow as a person. And my fourth tip would be to be frugal, because you have to keep in mind that you are a new business owner, a small business owner. You're just starting out. You're not a major conglomerate yet. So you want to be frugal and be mindful of how you spend your money and your resources. And my fifth tip will be to just believe in yourself. And, you may have times that you feel like you may want to give up, but just stay encouraged and just keep going, and just remember why you started in the first place.
That was really good.
Thank you.
One other thing that I would like to get into and discuss with you is the work home balance. is that, do you feel like that's a myth? And is it necessarily easy or hard to try to maintain a balance between the two? Now, this goes for not only your 9 to 5, but your business as well.
Right.
And, being a full-time mom,
Right.
being a full-time husband, everything. How do you handle all those hats?
Right. That is an excellent question. And you said the key to it, which is balance. It's very important that you balance out your life to where you can um, take care of the needs in each of those categories. So, sometimes I may be a better employee at a particular time than I am being a wife, or maybe a better entrepreneur focusing on my business than I may be an employee, or maybe a better wife than I'm being an entrepreneur. The thing is just making sure that you put time and energy and effort into each of those aspects of your life, and that you give it the attention that it needs to keep it flourishing. And it's about having that balance. The same way that I spoke about, having that solid business plan and listing out those goals. You want to do the same thing with your work and home and life balance. List out those different goals that you want in each of those categories of your life, whether it's family goals, uh, uh, health goals, lifestyle goals, spiritual goals. List those goals out and the steps that it's going to take for you to get to where you need to be to accomplish and maintain those goals. So it's all about, like you said, the key word there is balance, and being able to have that balance and structure to attend to all those different intersections in your life.
And I mean, those are great points. I would like to add to that by saying that, even though it can be intimidating, it's not impossible, but definitely something that can be overwhelming at times. But we always like to let the audience know that just because it may seem hard, that doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Right.
There is a way out of that. You just have to. Sometimes you just got to dig deep and find that way.
Right.
And as an entrepreneur, problem solving is what we do.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. One last thing that I like to ask all of my guests is, what is a too stubborn to fail moment for you? I know you may have a lot, but what is one moment in particular where you feel as though you were too stubborn to fail?
That's a great question. I would say, as far as my most recent too stubborn to fail moment, would be an event that I recently did for a client where the conditions were not desirable. However, I know that my job as an event designer is to first make sure my client's taken care of, make sure they're not stressed out at all, and make sure that I come up with contingencies to make sure that all of my events are flawless and they take place as they should. And I recently had an event where there were a lot of unforeseen circumstances that arose, but I was relentless in making sure that it was a beautiful and elegant event. My client absolutely loved everything, and she was none the wiser of everything that was happening behind the scenes and that I had to endure prior to, because it's my job to make sure that that part doesn't show. However, I definitely was too stubborn to fail on that one.
That was awesome. I believe I remember that moment.
Yes.
That was about a 12-hour job.
Yes.
But like you said, behind the scenes, people don't see what's behind the scenes, but
Right.
they were able to appreciate all the hard work that you put in.
Right. And to this day, it's so funny to me. I literally got a text from her, I want to say maybe 2 days ago, telling me she was just thinking about her party and how everything was so beautiful and just wanted to thank me again. So it's those types of things, those little tokens of gratitude and appreciation that just come out of nowhere that really make what I do worthwhile.
And I think it's also a testament to how great of a job you do. You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, if it wasn't good, then no one would ever thank you for it. I switched sides on you. Why you ain't go to the site yet? TooStubbornToFail.com. That's TooStubbornToFail.com. Go check it out. Teneasha, you've given us so many gems today. But could you do me a favor and tell the audience where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on my website, which is allthingsdesign.org, as well as my social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram at All Things Design LLC.
Well, there you have it. Please go follow her. And thank you for tuning into the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. And I'll see you next time.